Alright, let's talk about storing your vanilla beans, the vanilla bean pods, until you're ready to use them. Some of you I know were buying bulk beans. I happen to do it. I buy bulk beans all the time. And I needed to store them because I didn't have time to process them. For one, I ended up going on vacation. I had over 300 beans shipped in, and I didn't have time. Plus, I was having surgery done, and I didn't know when I was going to get back to them. So the best way to store your beans so that they don't get moldy is not in the fridge, it's not in the freezer or anything like that, is to submerge them in an alcohol. Preferably the alcohol you're going to use to make your vanilla extract, but it could be almost any type of your 70 proof or higher alcohol, because you're not using very much. You can jam them into a quart jar. I just happen to use the half-gallon bar ball or cur jars for making all my extracts. These are just easy. You can shake them. So anyway, I had my bulk vanilla beans and I needed to store them. The best way to do it was the alcohol. So what I did was I took a measurement and a count for my vanilla beans and I wrote everything down, because once you submerge them in the alcohol, they're going to absorb some of that alcohol and change the weight of them. They're going to become heavier, so they're not going to be the same amount of ounces per vanilla bean that it was when you first started. So just stay within those FDA standards. If you're going to do a bulk storage like this, or store them, it doesn't even have to be bulk. If you've only got an ounce of them, put them in a small jar and throw some alcohol over the top of them so that they're completely submerged and they don't get the mold. But you need to write down what those numbers are, because when you get them is when they're, I guess, cured and everything, and then that's the weight and ounces that they go by is when you get them. So write that information down. I have probably 300, I don't remember what my numbers were. It's over 300 beans in this one jar. And it only took maybe a cup and a half of fluid to fill it and submerge it, because I jammed them in there pretty good. I don't know if you could see that real well, but the beans are just jam-packed in there. And with the longer beans, these tall ball jars, half gallons, they're great because you don't have to cut them or slice them or anything like that to get them in there, and they're straight. I do like them straight because I'll put them in my finished jars when I'm done, my finished bottles. But yeah, stick them in there. Use your alcohol, fill them up to the top so that everything's covered. And then what I do is I save all my old lids from canning because they work for this. I don't use them for canning anymore, but I will use them for an airtight seal. So I always write used on them, and then we have a place for them to store. So I'll grab one of these and throw it on the top. And what I use now is the vacuum seal. You don't have to. You could just throw them in there, throw the lid on it, and then put the screw top on. Or you can use the plastic screw tops on top and push it down. It's enough of a seal that it's not going to harm you. The alcohol is going to ward off anything that's going to be that hurts your beans. So what I do almost on everything now, put the lid on and I vacuum seal them. I pull all the air out. Just that extra reassurance. even when I'm making my extract, I put the vacuum seal on it. Because it pulls all the air out of those beans that is trapped in there and helps that fluid get inside and extract faster. So this will help your extraction a lot faster. So then I didn't do it, but anyway, put the lid on it, and then it's good to go until you're ready to process it. This one's been sitting for a few months, and then what I'll do is I'll pull the beans out, I'll process them, because I always cut the ends off and then I split them in half to make my extract, which will be the next series of videos. But once I figure out my ratio, I'll put them in jars, and then I'll split this fluid up between each of those jars, because then I'll still follow the FDA standards of extract, because this is the same fluid that's around all these beans. If I take this fluid and split it up between the batches that I'm using with these beans, I still fall within the standards. If I put it in one batch, you're going to make a higher fold, and the other batches are going to be a lower fold, because you're actually, with the alcohol around it, you're actually pulling some of the flavoring out. So your beans aren't original anymore, and you won't be within those standards. So what I do is I split that fluid up between the batches. This will probably make me actually probably four of these jars complete with my recipe that I use. So I'll split these 300 some odd beans up between 4 of these jars, fill them up, and then that's what my vanilla will be. But I'll also take this fluid that's in here and split it between these 4 jars, and then top them off with my preferred alcohol. Yeah, so if that's what you're going to do and store it, that's the correct way to stay within standards when you're storing these, and you're going to store them in alcohol. Because as soon as you dilute it or anything, that changes everything. So, but this will last you forever. I mean, this will make it, I don't know what kind of fold this would be, 100 times or 10 times. But yeah, this is a killer extract right now, and way above the standards. So this is good to go. I'm not doing that though. I'm going to split it up and do that so I can make my batches. But this is safe. It's safe forever. The alcohol, I mean, I've had alcohol on the shelf for 5-6 years and never had any issues. So this is my preferred method. I've seen other methods where they get mold on them and so forth, but the alcohol is the safe method to keep them submerged in. If you're only going to be a couple weeks, you might throw them in a Ziploc bag, and you don't have very many. I would just double bag it so you don't lose it, and then submerge them in alcohol. If you don't have your preferred alcohol, I mean, you can use whatever you have. Just remember to split that up between your batches, or use it. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Like I said, these vacuum seals, they work great. I love them. I've got ground vanilla right now from my last batch that I'm getting ready to make some vanilla sugar. All my vanilla sugar that I make, I'll make it, put the seal on it, vacuum seal it, and put the ring on it. This will last forever with the vacuum seal on there, and it'll store great. So anyway, that's where I'm at for storage. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'll try to answer all of them. I usually do. And like I said, I'm doing a series of vanilla extract And this is just the part 2. First one I'm doing on the alcohols. This one I'm doing on storage. And I'll be getting into the processing. So if you like my videos, please subscribe down below on my YouTube channel. And hit the little bell button so you get notifications. I am also sharing this on my Facebook page and some of my groups. But I do appreciate everybody subscribing. This helps us out. We are just in the very beginning stages of YouTube. And I work from home. I'm working on my farm's homestead here. And this is the only way I make money. So I do appreciate everybody's support. So thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.